the Allemande from the second partita, solo partita for violin. And I feel very close to all of his solo pieces, really, because I've played them for what seems like forever. And obviously played them in concert quite a bit, recorded them. Every time you play any solo piece, really, it's a different experience because you have to have a relationship with your own playing, because there's no one else there to have a relationship with. Of course, there's the audience there, and it's very important to have a relationship with the audience. And actually, I think about that a lot, even before I play. But it's one of those natural things that just kind of happens. It's like speaking to you now. It's like speaking to a person, really, when you play in front of an audience. It's just that there's a kind of collective body of people. So it's more complex, of course, but it's really important to communicate. So there's that relationship, but then there's also the relationship with yourself, which is sometimes really easy, and on days where you feel very kind of calm and settled, and you haven't just flown from somewhere, and you've got jet lag or something like that. So physically you feel really good, and mentally you're very focused. Then it's very kind of clean and easy. And funnily enough, playing Bach is one of the most therapeutic things I think you can do, because it's cleansing. It really kind of cleans you from inside out, I think. You have to have a clear mind to play it, but if your mind isn't particularly clear, it helps you clear your mind, because the lines are so defined, the counterpoint is so clear. It's in a way, it's always like reading a map, a really, really well laid out map with everything on there. You don't have to add anything, there's nothing missing, and you know exactly where you need to start, and it shows you where to go and where to pause and how to behave, basically. But of course, in order to play the map, you need to know what the signs mean, and you need to know what everything is, what the landmarks are, and it's similar to a language, I guess, learning a language. I think his music is clear, always clear. Something about the solo music. I think he took special trouble, actually, in those pieces. You can see it in his handwriting. It's so beautiful. And he's taken a lot of care. And it's a really good copy. I think he must have copied it out a few times. You can see the care that he's taken in that. But in any piece I play by Bach, there's always a sense that he has a very clear idea of what he's after. But it's never superficial. That there are lots and lots of different levels. So of course you have the sacred music and then the secular music, but somehow the secular music feels sacred as well. Just because he was so steeped in his spirituality, and I think it just kind of permeated everything that he wrote. You can see it in the symbolism of the number 3, for instance, the Holy Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, and you see it in his figures. Just something really obvious, for instance, Brandenburg 3, da-da-dim, 1, 2, 3, and you see it everywhere, all the time. That figure, yum, ba-ba-bum, ba-bum, was a very kind of Baroque figuration. All triplets, of course, and movements in 3. But it just suddenly dawns on you the way he uses these symbolisms and on different levels. So that's constantly interesting and intriguing, and you can never get bored. In some ways, yes, because it is so multifaceted. I think you need to really look very carefully at the score. Well, that's obvious with everything, you need to look very carefully, but because his lines are so very clear, if they're not played or sung in a clear way, especially when it's very kind of dense music, like in the choral works or cantatas, then I think it is possible to lose some things. Of course, you have to be very careful about what you're bringing out. And so if everyone in the group or the ensemble or whatever, if everyone has that mindset and is very aware of everything else going on and aware of the necessity of this, it works. And of course, it's a huge education, of course, because you're not just playing your own line, but you're listening to everyone else at the same time. And this project I'm doing at the moment with the students from the Juilliard and the Royal Academy of Music in London has really actually highlighted those things because they're still studying. They're all really, really, really great players, but they haven't necessarily developed this kind of awareness yet, collectively, maybe individually. And so you can hear when some of the players are really just thinking about their part. It happens to all of us sometimes. And of course, then you really need to encourage this way of just listening out for the whole phrase, the shape of the whole architecture, the whole landscape, and of course the nuance within that. That's the balance to get that. I think is not easy. But back to your question, is it easier to perform his music or to read his music? In a way it is, because it's so very clear. I think once you know the language, it takes some time to learn the language. I mean, I'm still learning. Wow, of course, it's huge, enormous. It's like the Mecca, the Mecca of of any Bach lover, Finally, you're there. It was funny arriving yesterday because I've just been to the States, and so a bit of a culture shock coming from New York to Leipzig, of all places, but really rather wonderful. And in order to get over jet lag and things, I just had to walk around, immerse myself in the atmosphere of the wonderful Bach Fest. It's a really lovely atmosphere, I must say. And you see his picture everywhere, of course. And so sometimes he's hanging from a building, or he's waving in the sun, in the air and in the wind, in the sunlight, or he's poking out from windows. So I took lots of pictures to remind me of that. No, it means a huge, great deal just to be in the place. You can imagine him rushing around between the churches, from the Nikolaikirche to the Thomaskirche, having to get to the next practice or service on time, and losing his music on the way, and then going back and gathering it up and running and sweating in his big frock coat. You can just. I love to imagine all these things, to make it actually really vivid and lively. I like to imagine him composing at night, with just one little candle. Or well, maybe he had more candles, but I imagine he was saving. Yes, so it's a big deal. It's a big deal to be here. But at the same time, when you're here, like sitting here, you're very much in the time of today, in the present moment, and it also feels very natural to be here as well. So it's fantastic, yeah. Actually, I lived in Germany. I lived in Kassel. I went to school in Kassel, and we actually visited Eisenach, but we didn't get as far as Leipzig on that trip. We had to kind of move back. So I was really disappointed, actually. So it had always been something that I wanted to do. I really felt the urge and the need to go. So I was always looking up things in books, and I knew the pictures of the Thomaskirche and Schule, and of course his statue and all his things, and I'd met people who'd been to the Bach house here. And then I finally made it when I was actually living in London, and I was playing for Trevor Pinnock, and we were playing in Wiesbaden, and we had a day off, so I got on the train and I came here. And it's a while ago, and they were doing some work in the Thomaskirche, and you weren't really meant to go under the the kind of all the different planks and things, and there was a bit of a Baustelle. And so actually I was actually a bit naughty. Maybe I should not admit to this, but I actually went in a little bit when no one was looking and just had a good look. Saw all the windows and had lots of shivers down my back. Well, it's a big festival. There's lots going on, of course. A fantastic array of concerts and performers. And I think it's incredibly attractive. I mean, the audience must be just in heaven, I think, to have so many wonderful musicians here from all over the place. Not just from Germany, but from everywhere, from Europe and also from the States, and Japan. And I think it's a bit of a dream come true, really, to attend this festival, and to play here is a big honour.